can start us off with your beginnings of your design journey. How did you know this is it? How did you know that you were design would actually be your path? And how did your training in university prepare you for where you are now? Yeah, over to you, Norah.
Thank you very much, Wamboi. Thank you everyone for taking the time to speak to me and listen to me. Probably I want to first introduce myself because the poster didn't do justice. Yeah, so probably what the poster didn't say is that I am a wife to one, a mother to three beautiful girls. One is called Zoe, the other one is Zuri and Zahara. As you can see, I am Meru all the way. I have to just keep to one letter and run with it. I don't know how to underplay things. So the design journey really made me start wondering about what made me want to become a designer. And the word that came very clear for me is passion. I don't know if any of you have thought of people telling you, are you passionate enough about what you do? What is it that makes you tick? What is it that makes you thrive? I feel for me that is design. Probably I started from a very early age. When I was young, I used to be an artist. An artist meaning I draw stuff, I bake, I cook, I go for cooking lessons with my mother where they do some nice decorative things on cakes and stuff like that. As early as standard 4, I knew how to bake a cake and decorate it because I found that very interesting to me. And at that very early age, I sort of knew that I'm going to do something to do with art. Though I was hit by that big ball of disappointment when you're told, art is not a career, art is a hobby. And when my mother told me that, I was very devastated because I was like, what do you mean you can't be an artist and live? She's like, you have to make money and you have to eat and your children need to eat and things like that. So she gave me a reality check when I was in standard 6 that I cannot be an artist. And at that point I started wondering, okay, what else can I do? So from that point, I stopped saying I want to be an artist. I started saying that I want to be an engineer. An engineer, why? Because my parents were engineers to start off with and make them proud. And also because I liked to tinker with things, just fix things. I could change a light bulb very early when I was very young, and I could even fix a socket, a top plug onto a cable. So I was like, okay, I think engineering is also good for me because I can do these things effortlessly and I can actually take care of electrical appliances. I used to be the to-go-to girl to clean our, what do you call it? Is it VD? What is it called? That thing we used to put cassettes and watch movies. I used to clean that thing with a cloth, and I had an art about how I would do it. And my brothers used to call me to clean it because they knew if I don't clean it, we won't be able to watch TV and movies. And used to buy those big movies, those, I don't know, what are they called? Cassettes, or what were they called? Something like that. So we used to buy that and I'd clean it. So I told myself, okay, I think I'm also a bit engineer-like. So let me do engineering because it's something that will make my parents proud and I'm not very bad at it. So when I went to high school, I definitely did art because that was something I love, but I also had to do physics. And I did physics because now I have to be an engineer. So you can't be an engineer by doing biology. And I hated biology, I hate blood and things like that. So I knew very well I can't be a doctor. But engineering, I can fix stuff. So I did engineering, I did physics, and I also did art. And I thrived at art, I got A. Physics, I was I don't know what to call it. I was a bit lower, but at least I made grades to go to the university. And I had chosen to do engineering in university, but my grades did not get up to par as an engineer because you had to have a minimum of A minus, and I had a B plus. So A minus was not going to cut it for engineering. So my mother told me, okay, now that you got a B plus, you have to now choose something else. And I went for that selection after school. And because I had applied for something, I had applied for interior design in Maseno. I threw it somewhere in there so that my parents understand that it's still something that I'm keen about. I now decided to change it to interior to design in University of Nairobi. So I got that opportunity because you used to wait for like 2 years before you join university. But in the meantime, because we had like a 2 year chunk of time to figure out things before you join university, my parents were fortunate enough to take me to St. Mary's School, where I did something called International Baccalaureate. Julie there knows because she was my classmate. So in International Baccalaureate, we had to major in 3 subjects and minor in 3. So as you know, I had to choose maths. It's not that I hate maths, I love maths. I'm really good at maths. So I chose maths and physics as my majors, but I had to add art. Then minors were history, English, and literature. So I put a balance trying to see how I can still continue with my art while doing what my mother had chosen for me or what I thought needed to be done. So at that point, I did my IB for 2 years. And during that time, I got an opportunity of showcasing to my parents what I can do in terms of art. I just did everything art. My teacher, she was called Miss Osir. If I was not in class for a subject, I was in her art room. So she was always, you should just think of this as a career. But now my mother has already said, you cannot do this as a career. We were told it's not a career. So she told me, okay, worst case scenario, you can teach in art like me, but also people make something out of it later. So she's actually the one who encouraged me when I was going to do the selection to change to University of Nairobi and do design. So I had it, we were about to finish IB and I was already called to University of Nairobi. So I really plunged at the end because I was having to do IB and school in University of Nairobi at the same time. So for my art, I definitely got top marks 7. But something like physics and maths, I missed like two months of work, and which was majority of what was done as our end of year. And I got like, I think 5 marks, which was also not bad. Yeah. So anyway, my mother was like, okay, I think now let's just do this. You seem to be good at it and you like it. And I've seen 1 or 2 people who've done it and they kind of don't look like they're suffering. Let's just do it. So we moved to art together. And by the fact that it was something I had chosen, I had to prove that I was good enough for it. So every single day of my life in ADD was a time to prove to my parents that we never chose wrong, because it was either that or engineering. But now I finally got what I was looking for by the fact that I kept persistently showing them that this is a passion, and I never get below excellent in anything to do with that. And now at that point, I guess my father now mellowed into the fact that I'm an artist and started giving me, do for me something small here and there. And also the fact that now I'm doing design. So he started consulting me in all the projects that he was doing that had anything to do with art. I'd go and make furniture for his restaurant, then pick out artwork to put there. Mara, there's a lampshade that needs to be made. And his place was very, very African. So I would have to make the lampshades. But my background for IB actually helped a lot, because IB gave me a structure of how to do art or design. And with that, I managed to go through university without feeling like design was very heavy for me. Yes, there were the theory classes, but for practicals, I used to do very well. Theory, one or two things like communication skills, which is hard for me. That's why I don't like talking, because you have to talk and have to communicate with people. So for that, I sort of found it a challenge for things like communication skills, but the rest of the things, even maths, I aced them, because now it was maths in design. I don't want to be told that you chose design and now you're doing funny things. And by the time I was finishing my 4th year, I got first class honors, and I got my job 2 months before I finished, and it was in a company called Undugu Society of Kenya, which is a company that does handicrafts. I'd done an internship with them, and I'd also done programs within the University of Nairobi that included one we were doing with Action Aid, that would go and design products for different communities. So already I had a background of loving to work with communities, and also the fact that now I can give my skills in that way. So Undugu Society basically is an organization that was working towards empowering people in marginalized communities, and through trade, and especially using handicrafts. So that was like, the learning curve in Undugu was steep, almost straight up, because I had to deal with people who are semi-illiterate to illiterate, and look at what they can do and figure out how to create, to impact design principles such that it can be market ready for people in different parts of the world. I used to work like in conjunction with designers in different countries. So probably some shops had designers, others did not. So there are those who would just pick what we have, or tell us, okay, tweak this, our theme is this, please work with this theme and create products for that. And then the fact that you have to go now to the different communities and translate that into a very simple way that someone will understand, this is what the person who's going to buy it is looking to have. It was hard work. ADD prepared me for hard work. You'd do tireless, like we'd have 3 days, and we have to meet like 10 or 15 groups in Kisii, and all your time and energy has to be spent very, very, very sparingly amongst each group to make sure that everyone does their stuff right. And then the next thing that Undugu taught me was quality control. We used to make, say, one item, just one sculpture, and would make like 5,000, 10,000 of them. Now, this stuff has to be exported, and the export quality is really high. So it gave me an opportunity of sitting down and understanding what the client requires at the end of the day, and cleaning it up before it leaves our warehouse. Because once it leaves our warehouse, it's going to be shipped. And once it's shipped, there's no return. So my boss would start saying, oh my, Nora, you made a mistake. There's 10 items or 20 items that have been rejected. So I had to go through 1 until 10,000 piece to see what's wrong with it or what's right with it. And also they definitely had the understanding that this is handcraft, and also just to, they would know that there would be variances, but you couldn't send a Kisii soapstone stuff that is broken. You had to understand the sound of a broken item, because something like soapstone, it's very hard to know it's broken. You have to literally tap it lightly and be able to hear what if it's broken or not. Those are skill sets that I learned while working at Undugu, and they made me so keen at seeing. I don't know if it's so keen or made me so broken that I see problems all the time. So every time I look at a product, I first see what's wrong with it rather than what is right with it, because of the fact that I'm a quality controller. I check the items. By the time you're done with 10,000 pieces, trust me, you'll only see mistakes. You can't see goodness with things. But that was a very good training for me because I had both local and international exposure. I was that smiling girl with great job, traveling around the world, enjoying life. And then my bubble got burst. Here I was, and the company was going through a restructuring, and now they had to get us to first reapply for our own jobs, which was very ridiculous to me. And second, give you a pay cut, and third, move you out of Nairobi where you know and everything, you know, you've created your structures, to move to where Mashinani, where the communities are, so that they can reduce the costs of especially things like transport and things like that. So they wanted to build like a warehouse on that side. Now, unfortunately, it was the same time that I had applied for my master's. And now I couldn't do my master's when I'm in Kisii or a different part. So long story short, I had to quit my job because now I have to concentrate on PhD because I had a master's, because I was looking forward to being a teacher. Yes, that was my dream job, being a teacher. So I thought if I have to be a teacher, regardless of how, I had to do this by first advancing my education. And that's the only way that anyone will take me seriously as a teacher. Notwithstanding, I was still a teacher to all these other communities because different donors would come with their requirements of you have to train the people before you start working on product development. So I started teaching at a very early age. Immediately when I left school, I was teaching, but teaching in a smaller scale because this is, I'm teaching whatever skills I have to people who have probably went to school till standard 1 and some who never even went to school. So I was a teacher under a tree. Then now I want to be a teacher in the university because I felt NGO world, yes, though I was in it, is supposed to empower people, but the level of empowerment that I felt was being given, it was being done, was not sufficient in my book. Because here you are, you have a donor who's given you expectations of, okay, I just want to train on this, and you have records that you need to, reports that you need to do at the end of the day, and you're always trying to just check each list rather than helping the person on the other end who's supposed to benefit from what you're teaching them. So at one point, I really did not appreciate NGO world, and I decided that I would rather teach, because by teaching, I'm able to give back to the society while also having fun and learning and practicing what I like. So my master's was to take me to the next level. At that point, I knew I want to teach design. My mother is also a teacher, and she's always been my inspiration. So that's how come also at the same time, I wanted to be a teacher. So yes, and I went now to do my master's, and it took a very long time. It took 4 years. Some of you there have gone through masters in University of Nairobi, and you know it takes a long time. So we were there for around 4 years. And after I finished, I sort of just decided to just do work. I was not at any position where I knew exactly what I wanted to do. I had like 10 months of not knowing what I want to do. So for that time, I kept doing graphics work for somebody, doing a few products, selling here and there, making some little money here and there, going and doing branding. So it allowed me to also try out different skills that I had learned during the time I was in University of Nairobi, and applying this to that I did not necessarily use in Undugu, and applying them to the real world and where I was working, my own side hustle, which was my main hustle because I didn't have anything else. So during that 10-month period, one of my friends approached me and told me, okay, I'm working for a company. Yes, it's an interior company. Or I don't know if I told you my major was product design, product/industrial design. So at that point, she was trying to bring me into an interior design company. And she just said, you know, I've tried so many people. I'm the head of my unit, and I don't think there's anyone else who will get me and understand what I want done within that time. And then I was like, okay, how much are they paying? They're paying me good money. Okay, let me just do this, because I did it because I needed the money and also just to learn. I am a very good student. I like learning. So I went into it, and I didn't know she had an exit plan of 3 months. So 3 months later, she left. So she left me to do her work. But in the 3 months, I really picked everything I could get from her. And I also did well in the company. It's called Capital Colors Creative. And I was there for approximately 11 months. And during that time, now I was exposed to interior design and branding. Those were the two main things in Capital Colors. And also because of the fact that there were so many moving parts within Capital Colors, I managed to learn about all the systems, from finance to procurement to fabrication, the whole full circle, and also client management, because that was something I had never done. I never thought I could be a marketer or market itself. So at Capital Colors, I learned that very valuable skill of selling myself and selling the product that I am talking about. And it also allowed me to hone new skills like interior design, which was never a big thing for me, and also allow me to understand about branding and the different processes in branding, and also just to know where to get things, because sometimes you kind of need to know who's the best supplier for a certain thing and another. That's why it's really important to work for somebody, because some of this, the learning curve is quite slow when you're doing it on your own. But once you work for somebody, you get an opportunity to get exposed to various aspects of the business. Till today, I tell Mr. Nene Kalinga that his office, which is Capital Colors, is a perfect training ground for any designer. If you go there, it's a deep end. You sort of have to learn everything, because if you don't do everything for yourself, your project will not run. So I learned about managing a business within someone else's business. So I worked there for 11 months. Then my friend who had left, we already had an idea, and we wanted to do furniture, and we tried to pitch it to our boss, who didn't want to do anything to do with that. So I left and we started doing our business. So the beginning of business, which now this is about passion. This business was based on passion. I didn't know how hard it is to do a business based on passion, because here you are, you're starting off, people don't know you, you get one sale in a month of 30,000, and your partners, your many, and you still have to eat. By that time, I had my daughter, who was 2 years old, around 2 years old. So here I have a little baby who needs food. I still am doing this. I've left a job that gives me a very good income and all. So it was very tough for me for the first 2 years of business, because at that point, yes, I was practicing what I love, and every day I'd go and I had energy, because when you're doing your passion, you have extraordinary energy. You can do anything. There's no thing that holds you back, and you start thinking, okay, no, this is so much work, or I'll do tomorrow. You sort of transnight, do all those crazy things you used to do in ADD when you're having your pinup. It was like a pinup every day, because you want to do the best and make sure your client gets the best. So at that point, we were working on kids' furniture, and also somewhere along the line, a year later, we started now doing what we used to do at Capital Colors, because clients kept approaching us, and sometimes it depends on how you treat somebody. They sort of have you in their head, and they're like, okay, just do it for me, because they might not get the same service that you gave to them. So we grew our business, and at one point we had to part because of conflict of interest or conflicting issues, and that's just partnerships. And at that point, I learned a lesson. I don't want partnerships. At that point, I just told myself, I don't think this partnership business is for me. And yet again, and that was after 4 years when the business was now booming and it was good, I had to start again from what I was going through in year one. At that point, I had 2 babies and just gotten married. My husband had just moved into Kenya, so he didn't have a job. I had started working for technical university, for teaching some classes, but now I really needed money. But now the partnership is not working. I had to move on. So starting again from scratch, but at least, I don't know, the people who work out call it muscle memory. Is it called muscle memory, or is it called, the way that you can remember how you started something? So at least that was not lost for me, because I knew how I started. We started the other one. So creating systems, trying to get it back, and getting it in the right position. I did what I knew, which was furniture. I couldn't start selling potatoes at that point because I didn't know how to sell potatoes. So I definitely created what do you call it? Friction, because now I can't go into a different business that I do not understand. And I continued with it. So the first year was tough. I think in the first year, I was even doing less than one business in a month. But technical university, the salary there kept us going. My husband tried to get a job and all that, and it was difficult considering he didn't have, unfortunately in Kenya, sometimes you need a network, and he'd been out of the country for like 15 years. So it was tough. Now we had a young family, 2 children, and a business that is starting and trying, and him without employment. So he kept going out of the country, coming back, doing work, coming back for like 2 or 3 years. And it was tough for me as a mother and a wife, because I had to take care of everything. And also he had tried to run a business that's starting and also work at technical university. So by year 2, yes, things started like normalizing, and we started getting now bigger gigs. People appreciated the work we do. So, I think for us, the breakthrough was when we started working with Johnson's Baby, and they loved our products, they loved our service and everything. Please mark service. That's another thing that we'll talk about within what we're talking about. And we started growing, and then came baby number 3. At that point, now mother of 3 babies and a business. So my husband had to leave all the stuff he was doing abroad, and he came and settled in, and we decided our business is what we are working towards every day, because now we had to figure this out as a full hustle, not side hustle. We have full business. So yeah, since then it's been around 4 years now, and every time there's been growth and growth and growth. And the only reason why, or the thing I attribute to it, is first passion, and second, a willingness to just keep it up. Because running a business or identifying what you want to do is very tough if you're in between. You want to do it and you also want to do other things. It's very, very difficult. Sometimes you just have to keep at it and keep doing it every day, knowing that this is your end goal and you have to keep doing it. So this year my business expanded. I know we are in the middle of Corona, but it just expanded because once Corona started, I saw a big issue. And for me, it was people are trying to work from home. And I told myself, okay, now why don't I start creating products that are now no longer kids' products, but products that have to do with home. It had been a thought at the back of my mind for a while, but I never had the chance or the time to slow down to start it. So Corona allowed me to take time and focus and start it. It's my kids' furniture line is called My Tree House, and the other one is called Green Furniture. I don't know if any of you have seen it, but anyways, Green Furniture managed to get its way into the market at the right time. So mark another thing called opportunity. So I saw an opportunity, I saw a need, and I worked towards it. So I created products that are needed by younger people, because I saw my market is a younger audience, products of 10K and below, but they can use it within their homes, not only for working desks, and also including like their dining tables and other kind of products that they need within their space. And that's proving to be bigger than the other business that I had been doing for 4 years. And though both of them work hand in hand, this other one is definitely, for me, a bigger business. So I think one thing I'll talk about is, what is your passion? For me today, I would want all of you to identify, what is it that you, if money was not the issue, if time was not the issue, if you didn't have to get paid, if you had to do it 24 hours a day, what is that thing that you would do without feeling tired about it? What is that makes you tireless? You just want to do it and you're ready to make sacrifices for it. And that is the first thing that will allow you to grow and find your niche. So for example, I started thinking about myself when I was given this task. So I looked into myself and asked myself, okay, who am I? What is it that makes me a good designer, for example? So the first thing that I identified when I was very young is that I'm an artist. I like creating things. I like giving life to things. I like fixing things. Yeah, that was one of the most important. And I will say I'm good at it, because I imagine anyone's passion has to be something that you're good at. It can't be something that you're in between, or yes, maybe, or Nani can do it better. No, it has to be something that when you hold on to it, you're the one who can do it the best. Yeah. So, and even within your mind, you have to know that is something that I do the best. The second thing is that I like resolving problems. I've been resolving problems from the get-go, from when I was very young. I'd figure out, okay, I want a doll. My mom is not going to buy it. Then I take karatasi, I make it gazeti, karatasi ya mkate, and fix it. I make a dress for it. You know, those sort of things. I did it from a very early age. I liked to tinker with things, fix things, so resolve my own personal problems. And that really gave me, it was a good recipe for being a designer. Next, what is it that I can work on very fast on my feet? I like challenges. I like moving. My husband says, we're discussing about retirement. Because at that age, you can start talking about retirement. But at that point, we were talking about retirement. Then he was like, you know me, I can retire. I can just wake up in the morning, go to the gym, come sit down, drink tea, my breakfast, take a nap. I was like, what? I don't know how to do that. Unfortunately, I am a busy person. I like to keep doing things. Yeah. So I'm very fast on my feet, and I think very fast. That's something that I've got to recognize about myself. And also, I like working with my hands. So for me, product design was mindless, because as long as it's something I touch, I can work well with it. So that's another thing that I came to recognize about myself, that I realized, okay, yes, this is what makes me. So even for each and every one of you, you need to sit down and look at yourself and say, okay, I as Rhodes, you said you're called Rhodes, eh? Or Laura or Emmanuel, I am like this. Just know yourself. Know I do this, I do that, and I do it well. That's first recipe. Second is that you sit down and think, how can I monetize what I love to do and I do very mindlessly? For example, recently my sister has had to deal with this corona thing of laying off people. And for me, when I sat down and looked at her and I told her, I love the way you cook and you do very lovely, what's it called? Chilies. She's very good at making chilies. She makes things like chilies, jams, things like that. And I told her, why don't you look at that as a business? What is lacking within the chilies that are out there? What don't people get? What is it that's uniquely you that you can work on? Sometimes you might not see it for yourself, but it's also important. Just ask the people around you, the ones who know you well. They would easily say, huyo anakuanga anapenda kucheza na vitu na mikono. Something that people know you for and know that you can do without being tired about. So she's actually started her business on chilies, and she's been doing this now, I think 1 month. She'll be doing a month by next week. I helped her by doing what I could do, like branding for her and stuff like that. But 100% is her. She's the one who's sat down and seen what she can do and perfected it, and went to do research and know everything she can know. Go and find out, okay, how do Haitians make their chili? How do Jamaicans? It's because she sat down and she said, okay, this is what I'm going to do, and now find out everything. Just 1 second. Find out everything you can find out about what you're doing. So if for me, it would be now create new skills, or all the skills that you require to practice that thing that you've seen. Yes, I'm very good at it. Second, I can monetize on it. It can't be something that you cannot monetize in. But even when I look at it, you can monetize on everything, as long as you figure out what is that unique factor about what you have that will allow you to be able to make money from it. Because if you're not going to make money, at least be passionate about it. Get something that you wake up every morning and you're willing to sacrifice everything you're doing on that day to be able to reach that goal. Next thing, just ask yourself, what is it that makes you happy and satisfied every moment when you wake up and you feel this is it? I'm happy I'm a great cook. I love food. You've seen people making money out of reviewing other people's food. They like eating. I imagine that's what their strength is. They like to eat food. They like to go out. So they go reviewing other people's restaurants and they get paid for that. Find out what it is that you would do better than the other people and that you also like to do and that can bring money to the table. Yeah. And just shift your mindset, because like what I'll keep going back to Rhodes because he's the one who gave a little bit more information. He said he doesn't practice design, but I imagine he still does a few things that he calls probably his hobby. You have to shift that mindset from a hobby to a business. And the only way you can do that is by creating structures around it. people say you don't have to do everything. So for example, I'm horrible with numbers, but I can get an accountant to deal with the numbers issues. I'm horrible with, say, managing a workshop, say, so I can get someone to manage the workshop. I'm horrible with hiring, so I get a HR person to hire. You don't have to do everything. Yeah, in this world, there's something for everyone. So once you've created the first thing, now look at what other connections you can make that will allow for other people to come into your business and build on your business. For example, my business is a furniture business, but I'm not like a die-hard furnishing person. You know, I don't enjoy making cushions, you know, cushions that have Masai beads and stuff like that. Something that probably Julia would enjoy doing. Or I am not good at jewelry or something like that, but probably Julia can come and add on a jeweled piece within my piece and be able to do her part. So something that's very key and important for me and for our business is collaboration. I like to collaborate with people and see what different people are doing and see how that can fit within my business. So yes, you have your passion. Yes, you build a business. Yes, you must include other people in your business, because without that, it's just a hobby. And next, probably figure out a way you can give back to society based on what you're doing. Currently, I'm trying to make products that might help people work from home or resolve some problems that they are having at an affordable cost. But probably I need to do more, like go and help a school somewhere to establish themselves, you know. But whatever that is, you have to give back while getting, because if you don't do both, it's in vain. It's not anything that will work. Skill sets are very important. I know I mentioned them. So what extra skill do you need to learn? Okay, during my time, I have done very many ETC things in between. I have managed LinkedIn marketing solutions in Kenya. And for example, as most of you would wonder, what are you doing there? You know, I ran a business with my sister, and we got a partnership with LinkedIn in Africa, and we needed to establish a way for them to sell their solutions within Kenya. Now, as you can hear, that's nothing that I know, but I took 3 months to learn everything I could find out about it. And by the end of that 3 months, I knew it very well on my fingertips. And every time I was unsure about something, I asked a question. I feel more and more people are afraid of asking questions when you don't know something. You unfortunately have to keep asking, because making mistakes is harder than asking a question. So whenever you feel that, yes, I'm doing this and I'm not sure about it, please try find out someone who knows it and go and ask them the question. And out of that LinkedIn marketing, it really allowed me to understand digital marketing space very well. I managed to understand how I can do my business online. You know, from any random person, they would think, you're wasting your time, you know. But with every experience I go through, I pick something that can allow me to grow what I'm doing. And only by being in that space, because like LinkedIn marketing, I was there for 1 whole year, I was able to understand things that I would necessarily not have understood if I was just sitting on the other side and trying to put in my LinkedIn profile or check out people on LinkedIn. You know, I am able to see the workings and whatever is going on the back end. Also, I've run Social Media Week with my sister, and when we started Social Media Week, I did not understand anything to do with social media. I hate Facebook. I hated Facebook. Let me use the right word. I hated Facebook. I used to think people don't have, they're just writing about themselves. They don't have other ways of protecting their identity, you know. And by starting Social Media Week, I got to understand why all those platforms are important, especially for businesses, because we ended up working towards it in terms of businesses and seeing how people are monetizing on those platforms. Yeah. And as a bystander behind here who had a Facebook profile, I was just stalking my friends and finding out, okay, what are you doing? What are you doing? Flipping, oh, you've gotten married. Oh, okay, you have 2 children. Oh, your child has just turned 1. You know, but I didn't understand how that relates at the end of the day to my career and what I want to do. But by the fact that I went out of my comfort zone and learned something new, I was able to apply it to my business. Like today, my business is primarily on Instagram. I like Facebook also, but I find while doing business on Facebook for a while, I discovered that there are too many idlers on Facebook. And so they sort of come and spam your communication too much. So I don't invest much in Facebook. I invest more in Instagram. Facebook and Instagram are owned by the same company, but the dynamics of the two are totally different. I even had people are selling on Twitter. According to me, Twitter is a news platform. So now I am more keen to understand how is this guy selling on Twitter, you know, because Twitter is not an obvious platform for selling stuff. Yeah, there must have been something that this guy learned about Twitter that other people have not figured it out. Yeah. And then also in terms of LinkedIn, why should I put a good profile? Some of you might be looking for jobs. Yeah. And you don't come to realize that some employers are very keen about your digital footprint and would like to know what you say, what you write, what you put out. And you can either get a job or lose a job purely on what you say on social. So even that, the fact that I interacted with the different social media platforms, I was able to understand why this one, why not that one, how does that come and work together with what I'm doing. So you have to have a willingness to learn and open your mind and increase your skill set in everything. Yes, things like accounting I have refused because now I can't do everything. It's just, and I don't like accounting because I have come to realize I'm very bad at being accountable for the things I do in terms of money. And I end up spending money on my own things that I should have otherwise just sat down and created spreadsheets about it. But that has never been my strength. Yeah. But I pay someone to do that part. And also my husband is very good at, because we run the business together, he's very good at putting down all those accounting lines and he can make them very well. So also learn your weaknesses, because by understanding what you're weak at, you can be able to know what to work on and what are your strengths and figure out how to make it work. Yeah, so gifts and talents. I was sent to something and there was something about gifts and talents. I guess gift and talent is now comes in terms of what you're good at and are talented in, you know. It's basically that. And also the fact that someone asks, if you pick something, do you have to stop? You really don't have to stop and not look at other things. As you have seen, I have done so many other things in between what I do and I like. But by doing them, I have improved on what I can do because I have learned new skill sets that I would necessarily not have had I just stayed in my comfort zone and say, I'm a creative, I'm a designer, I draw, I don't do anything else, you know, because that means you cannot expand your horizon in any other way. You're limited in that, and that's all you can do. Yeah, pick up a challenge. I've seen during this Corona period, many people have, for example, LinkedIn Learning is a good place to start from. LinkedIn Learning is a very good place to start from. LinkedIn Learning allows you to do short courses that can improve on your skill set or knowledge on different things. So it would be good to see what else can you do that can help you emphasize on what you know and also help you do what you do better. Yeah, because if you're not willing to learn, it's very difficult for you to grow. You can only grow by learning, unfortunately. So you can't say, I'm the best at design and that is it. I also learn from people every day. And I also allow people to show me what they can do so that I also learn from them, because it's a two-way traffic. Learning is not only giving, you also receive from other people, you know. And also as a teacher, I lecture at Technical University of Kenya. I have gotten an opportunity of looking at students and their learning curve and what they can do. And it allowed me to open up my mind because I pick out of all those things. So yeah, I think I have talked a lot about so many things and I feel like I've talked too much about myself. It's much more than I normally do. So I hope you've learned a little bit more about me. But basically,
Yes.
in conclusion, I can say, for me, my passion, what I've discovered is my passion is creating products. And that's what I studied in editing. And I've kept building that skill knowingly and not knowingly over the years. Some things I've dropped along the way, but that doesn't mean I won't pick them up. I'll pick them up when they are relevant. Like right now, what I was doing in Ubu, I'm currently in partnership with someone else to do a line of products for them that has to do with that. Yeah. So you don't, whatever you learn along the way is not useless. It is important. And for people who've not had, who are in employment, please stay there. Understand the working things so that when you go out you're not starting from not knowing. It's so painful to make mistakes under your own umbrella or with your own money, because sometimes human beings don't learn from other people's mistakes. You kind of learn from your own mistakes. Like with Nene Kalinga, it was amazing. There's a time I think I lost like $1 million for him, but you see, he just said, Nora, now what are you going to do next? You have to return my $1 million, you know. So I had to figure out a way of making business that will relate to that 1 million. And also it made me learn that, hey, I cannot go this direction again, because if I do this, I'll lose money, you know. But I didn't lose it on my tab. So that's, sometimes it's important to go and work for someone. I'm not saying you go there and lose people money, no. What I'm saying is you learn, you go and experience something and you learn, and it allows you to be able to at least grow. Yeah. And for all of you out there, I'm sure you have Instagram and Facebook. You have to follow my pages. An hour to talk to you. Yeah. So I have Green Furniture KE and my treehouse. Those are my 2 lines, and my babies, and they keep growing every day. I hope one day my daughter, who loves art so much, will come and become the new CEO. I bring her here very many times so that she can understand the business and also know what she's going to do. And she loves it also. So I'm hoping this remains a constant. She's just 10, 9.5, 10. And you never know what will happen by the time she's 18. She might have changed. But also, I don't want to block her path, because I came to realize sometimes it's important to look at someone and see what their strengths are and work on those strengths rather than trying to force them to do something. If my parents did not believe enough in design, even after all what I proved to them, I would have been an engineer somewhere. I don't know if I would have been enjoying, if I would have had this opportunity to talk about what I like. But trust me, I can wake up at 6 a.m. to do this at 5 a.m. or 4 a.m. and I can go to sleep. I sleep 4 hours in a week doing design because it's my passion and I love it, and I go 110%. Yeah. So I hope that has answered some questions.
Yes, Nora, in fact, the chat is full of questions. First, to say thank you very much for your candid sharing. Mm-hmm. I think each of us picked something in your story. Like, but for me, at a personal level was you can't pursue something and find your niche when you're like double-minded, like one leg is in and the other one is out. I think you won't find it. So if you're patient enough, you endure the pain, and then you make the big break. I think I'm in that season right now, and it's encouraged me to. I was now, one of my legs was starting to go out because I was like, okay, this thing is not, I'm not making it. So it's a point of encouragement. And also, I think you can share in the chats the names of your business on Instagram, so that we didn't get the names quite well. And sometimes if you don't put the correct name, you go into a wrong page. So if you don't mind, you can post it there. But just to go into the questions, there's a question from Emmanuel. He asks, what are the pros and cons of partnerships? And I think you've experienced partnerships, so you can tell us. So I think we can do questions it's already 3:12 and we must close at 3:30.
Yes,
so
yes.
we have 18 minutes left. So we do 3 batches of questions in 6 minutes each. And then he says, if you have many gifts and they are all full of potential, how do you maximize in such a way you do not burn out and you're not a jack? Okay, he says, if you have many gifts and they are all full of potential, how do you maximize on all of them in such a way that you do not burn out and you're not a jack of all trades? Is it actually possible to do so? So those are questions from Emmanuel. And then there was another question was, how do you know when to leave a business? Because sometimes you must leave a business. And how do you know when to pivot? Like now for you, during Corona, you've pivoted to now. It was an idea you had, but this opportunity has made you pivot to furniture for other use apart from kids furniture. And then are there steps to follow to find the niche? I think you've spoken a bit about that, but you can share. So yeah, you can start with those questions. Guys, please post as many questions. Even if you want to ask a question directly, you can raise your hand, and then you can then unmute yourself. Yeah.
Okay. Now I'm not very good at being given too many instructions. I like one instruction at a time. So if you don't mind, ask the first question, then I answer it. I'm horrible with that. My mind is very scatterbrained.
Okay.
I think of too many things at a go. So we start with the first question.
Was partnership. Partnership. Yes.
Okay. Probably I'm very bad at partnerships.
Okay.
Let me just put it out there. Because for me, I've suffered a lot in partnership, or rather, I've learned a lot in partnership. They always start good because you have the same vision and where you're going. But it's important to watch out for telltale signs that things are not going on well. For me, I ignored that for a while. Yeah. So I would suggest you start small and build. That's my suggestion. Someone else will say, oh, you need investors, you need people to come, it needs to grow in one day. But for me, I believe in starting small. Out of my own experience, I believe in starting small. I believe if I can make one chair today, let me make one. Then tomorrow I'll have made 2. By the day after, I have 3 chairs. Yeah. By 2 years down the line, 365 days later, how many chairs do I have? By doing that, I am able to grow. So I'm not saying that partnerships are bad, because sometimes if you're partners and you realize, okay, my strength is in design, your strength is in marketing. So you do marketing, run with marketing, I run with design. Oh, my strength is production. You run with production, I run with design. So identify what everyone's strength is. Write it very clearly down. Have a partnership agreement and have an exit agreement. An agreement that, yes, we are here together, but one day we might not be here together. And please get a lawyer to draft this sort of documents, because they are very important, because they allow for, there's clarity in the process. You don't have to break hearts. You don't have to suffer forever in your life, because it's not every day that you have to do the same thing with the same person over and over again. But for conflict resolution, it's important to have those sort of agreements. Yeah, so if you can find out what a partnership agreement is before you start the business with someone else, lay out clear structures and what the expectations, set expectations for each person, so that you know, even if you are true designers, your strength is in product, my strength is in interiors, yeah? You separate the roles such that it's very clear what everyone is doing. Don't try to, oh, I will go and sell, I can't bring the work myself, I execute it. It won't work, because everyone is blessed in a different way. And at that point, it will give the partnership some friction, because someone will feel like the other person is gaining much more than what the other person is gaining. But you see, it's based on the fact that you never clearly outlined what each person is the responsibility is. And you do not cross each other's responsibility and say everyone is in charge of marketing, everyone is in charge of design. It can't work. It can't work. You will definitely clash. And then also have clear structures so that you understand, okay, this is where point of contact, the first point of contact is the second is this, third is this, and there's no confusion about that. Yeah. I hope that answers your question.
Yeah, Nora, that's very clear. So we can, there's a second question about what if you're gifted, you have different gifts, and how do you then, and all of them are like full of potential, how do you then maximize on them without burning out? And is it actually possible to do all of them? Yeah.
Yes and no. I am that kind of person. Whoever asked that question, because when
it's Emmanuel who asked.
Yeah, Emmanuel. I'm sort of like you, because when I touch something, I'm a good student. I kind of get good at it. Yeah. But I want you to first understand, okay, what is it that I really love to do? How can these other skill sets work together? You know, have an ultimate goal, but I have this skill set, that one. There's nothing that cannot work with another thing. You can make that all your talents work within one another. For example, I like tinkering things and cutting up things. That is different from probably furniture design. But how can I include like jewelry within my furniture? You understand? Your furniture then have to stand on its own. And that's actually what creates your niche and your personal style. That someone else who would actually just be doing furniture might not be able to do it. If it's music and furniture, how can you add music within your furniture? Yeah. If you're very good at IT, can you create a system that allows your furniture to be sold smarter? You know. So just figure out how your different talents will work together for a common goal. But trying to work out different things, which I have done, whether you get burnt out and it's not good. You keep dropping the ball here and there, not because you're not capable, because your focus is on very many things. Try and compress them into one. Figure out how each of your talents does. I'm a very good think tank. If I was not a designer, I would just be sitting down and thinking on behalf of other people. So you can drop me a mail, tell me what it is you like to do. I've sent my email address, and probably I can help you compress them into one thing. Yeah.
Nora?
Yeah.
Okay, thanks. The other question was, when do you know, okay, when do you know when to leave a business? And how do you know when to pivot? And I think I can jump on that question. Nora, I know you've shared your journey of where you are and now you're running your business. And of course, you shared that when you got an opportunity for LinkedIn, you took it and it was worthwhile. Okay. Have you ever thought you can leave your business as a person and like get employed in a place that will give you a totally new skill set? Is it something that you would entertain even?
Actually, if I get the right person to run what I'm doing, I can move. I like those challenges. As I told you, one of the strengths I found about myself is enjoying challenges. I really like challenging things. So if today, say UNESCO decided they need someone in charge of their urban housing something project, and I can get someone to handle my business as I do, I can go. I can go. Yeah. The challenge is when you do not have the right structures to leave your business. And I am not yet there because I've had a bit of a up and down somewhere. But if you can be able to just leave it and get people to run it on your behalf, please just take on another opportunity, because it's not in vain. Every opportunity I've picked, I have learned something from it. One boy.
Boy, have we lost you?
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
Can you
you're
hear?
back.
Yes.
Yes. Okay. Sorry. Okay, Nora. Sorry, I didn't hear your last comment, but anyway, maybe we can move on. The last one is, are there steps to
I can't hear you, one boy.
Sorry, are there steps to follow in finding your niche?
Oh, okay. Mine has been all over the place. So I don't know if I can call those steps, but there are things that you need to identify. You first need to identify. That's the way I told you. What is it? Like something that you're passionate. Sorry, let me switch off this phone. I'm using it as my internet connection. What is it that you can do if you're waking up at midnight or 1 a.m. and told, let's go and do it? What is that thing that you can do? If you can't identify, ask a friend, ask your family, ask someone who knows you well, if they can tell you what that is. Second, identify a need for what you want, because it's important to figure out if there's a need. Because I don't know, if right now, if I was to make boots for using in outer space, is there really a need for those boots right now, even if it's my passion? You know, you have to figure out the need. I always start from need before I start from what I want to do. I identify a need, then I decide what I want to do next. Third, how can you make money out of it? Yeah. If it's furniture, am I going to sell them? How am I going to sell it? Should I open a shop? Should I have an online platform? Should I go and leverage on other people's online platforms like Jumia or whatever other ways of doing it? You have to figure it out. Next, create a structure. How is this going to be done? If I'm creating furniture, I need a workshop or somewhere where I can be making my things. Second, I need to design it, get it done properly. So am I going to get a manager there, or am I the one to do it? You know, just look at what is possible within what you currently have, and then give it time, then scale it up. So don't just try to scale things before you first understand the workings of it. Even if you were to go to an investor, they only realize that you're investor ready when you've already established something, that you are understanding how it's being done, and you know everything that goes around it. The only thing that is remaining is to scale. Yeah. So you have to be sure that whatever you're doing is scalable. Yeah. So I hope those are steps. Yeah,
Yes.
I hope you can consider them as steps. Yeah, but
Yes.
yeah.
Okay. I think there was a question on the preparations you need to do before, as you find your niche. And I think you've answered that even in your story we picked up. I don't know if there's anybody else with a question that you would want to just unmute yourself and ask. Anybody? Especially to maybe I can ask any students Have you found this resourceful? Do you want to ask anything? Okay, Norah, maybe I can ask you. You're teaching at Technical University.
Mm-hmm.
Where does it fall within finding your niche? Why do you teach?
That is my number one career. I'm a teacher. Yeah, it is my career. I'm a teacher.
Yes.
It allows me to explore. It allows me to learn. Yeah, because you can't teach without learning. You must learn to teach. And that's
Okay.
one thing I do very effortless. I might not be the best at writing lesson plans, but in terms of teaching, I think I am good at it. But not teaching small children, because my children really struggle with my teaching process. It's not very nice. I prefer teaching people who are older, or rather that's what I've done, and that I really enjoy. I really believe it's one way that I can give back to society. If I can teach you what I know in my mind, it's not that it's eating into my mind, you know. I'm just sharing what I know. I find that very gratifying. Yeah.
Okay. I think, as you can see from the chat, everybody is actually very grateful that you've shared your story with us, and I think people are saying, "Oh, very informative." I think everybody has picked a bit of something, and I think my challenge to everybody, maybe by today evening, is to write based on Nora's talk to us. What is in your design journey or in your career journey? What is the one thing that you picked up and you want to implement? Starting today, because we don't want to put the lessons at waste. Okay. So okay, okay. Now I'm seeing people are not posting questions. Let me ask another one. Looking back from campus and until now where you are, okay, and you look at how your journey has been up and down with twists and turns here and there, is there something that when you look at finding your niche, you feel that it was not a necessary part of the journey? It's something that if you were to go back, you would remove it. It didn't add any value.
Wow. I don't think there's something like that, because in any decision I made, good or bad,
Yeah,
it made me learn something. I know sometimes we want to regret decisions that we've made, but I would prefer you just learn from them, because even the partnerships that I had that did not work, I learned so much out of them. They were like such a huge thing in what I do today, because I learned from my partners. I grew as a person. There were so many learning things from there. It was not supposed to happen like that at the end of the day, but I learned. I even learned from the time I was running away from my burning house and leaving my workshop that I was doing from behind my house, all those silly things I experienced while trying to make sure that everything is working. Because right now, I know for most people, if they come to my space, they might think, you just did it. It's possible, It's a journey, because people don't understand the journey. And someone might look at you where you are and not realize where you came from, yeah? And some people might think, I'll just do it and it happens. For me, it never happened like that, yeah? I had to persevere, work at it, fail, and then finally, something happened. Like this new business that I've started doing furniture, it had already muscle memory of what I have done previously. So it was not like starting from scratch. You understand? So I already had the structures available. All I was doing is to put forward a new product. I was not trying to build a business from scratch. Yeah. So even for the person who was saying, I have so many things that I have passion from, you start with one, make sure it's running and working. And with that, you pivot yourself to the next one and make sure that they're making sense together. Such that if you are to sit in a 3x3 office, your whole business can be there. and you don't have to start running to, oh, the other one requires me to be in shower ground, the other one requires me to be in Embakasi. You know, you can't split yourself into so many pieces. You just have to do what you can do. Yeah.
Okay, so it's 3:31. So just the last one I saw about somebody posted, Annette. She said she's a self-taught designer who's currently doing decor. So this is somebody who realized she has a gift and a talent and decided, okay, I might as well teach myself. Any thoughts on somebody who's gotten into design?
Okay, Annette, I'm glad that you have a passion for it, and you don't have to go to university to like pivot. You don't have to. You have to figure out what skill sets you need to have. For example, I bought a sewing machine. I've never used it because I should have just remembered home science. I hated home science, but I got a sewing machine thinking I can add it into my business, and I forgot that I really don't like sewing, you know. So it's sitting there, it's like a nice monument, but I will not use it. I would rather hire someone to use it. So if you've identified that's what you're good at, and you have to figure out, okay, what else don't I know that I need to know about it? You can know it from a friend. You can go online and see what videos, tutorials of what people are doing out there. It's not rocket science anymore. You don't have to have a teacher facing you to tell you, okay, do this, do that. University is just to open your mind. It's not to make you, it just opens your mind. It gives you an opportunity to challenge yourself. Yeah. So with what you have, what other skills do you require to make it work? Go online, do tutorials, do a short course on LinkedIn Learning or wherever else it is. Because like LinkedIn Learning has so many courses. You can be a photographer, you can be anything. It's all there. A chef, by just learning master classes on what other people know. Learn from other people and ask all the questions you need to ask. Go to a shop and ask, hey, I like this. Even I do that. I go to people's shops and I'm like, oh, what material is this? I don't have it in my shop. Then I ask, oh, what material is it? Oh, it's called metal. Oh, and then it's powder coated. Oh, now I go sit down online, Google, what is powder coating of metal? Then I go and read on it. I'm like, okay, this is what I need to do. Hire next. I look, which companies in Kenya can do that? Then I go there. I don't have to open it as a branch in my shop. Yeah. I just have to go and get the right people to do the right things for me. And then I'm a quality controller. So I know when it's not right and when it's right. So please, run with what you have. Learn as many skills as possible. Ask all the right questions or wrong questions. You don't know which ones they are. Ujinga sio kutokujua. Ujinga is not asking, is you did not ask a question. I keep telling the people I work with, I tell them, but they ask me the same questions. I don't mind. What I mind is you make a mistake and you never bothered to ask and you knew you didn't know. You know, that's only we can ask, find out who knows. Go there, do a short course, ask somebody, sit down, intern for someone for free for 3 months. Figure out what to do, you know, just something. Yeah.
Okay. Thanks, Laura. I think it was really insightful. It was timely. And I think for even I didn't know parts of your journey. I think I knew a very small part of your story, but hearing it from you live is really encouraging. So I'll invite Chair to give a 2 minutes 2 minutes introduction to who is Design Kenya Society, because they're the ones hosting this event. Then in any case, if somebody wants to become a member, we have these design meetups every 3 weeks because we found them very, very useful for designers in different stages of their journey to come and share. So Chair, share with us. Yes, sorry, yes.
I was just talking to Collins today and I saw you had written founder member of Design Kenya Society. I asked him, Were you there when we were designing that logo for Design Kenya? Thank you, Wamboi.
No. The poster got it wrong. Don't worry. Now I'm a member. I'm not necessarily a founder member. Yes.
Collins Makunda down there can tell you what Design Kenya Society is. I'm just kidding you.
Yes.
Yeah.
I'm not a founder member. Okay, anyway, Chair. Can
Thank
you
you,
hear?
everybody. Yes, I can.
Yeah.
The name is Chesubire, and I help with the communications and logistics for Design Kenya Society. I will give the Cliff Notes version because Bwana Chair has the long version. The way I see it from where I sit is DKS is the mothership of design. You see, design is so big and so wide, and there's so many disciplines within it, but people are used to sitting in their pockets, graphics, one corner, photography, another corner, illustrators. And even as we understand that that is important, DKS is the home where anybody in any discipline can come and we work together. So our target over the next couple of months into the next few years is to be a resource center. So we have a program that will be coming up called Design Mashinani, which is just design at the community level, research. We had begun art for schools because we realized the transition between a non-art student into design is hell and high water at the college level because art and crafts was removed from school. So what DKS does is we provide an even platform for anybody with an interest in or who is learning and practicing design to come and meet others. This is our biggest vehicle right now because every 3 weeks we have a different topic. So just watch our pages. We are DKS or Design Kenya Society on Twitter, on Facebook, on Instagram, on LinkedIn, because we believe that somebody has to challenge the conversation. So that's what we're there to do. Situate everybody, challenge the conversations, and create room to grow. So like this week on Friday, we'll be doing a meeting like this to discuss the current 2 bills that are in Parliament, the 2 design bills. Because if we do not put in our voice as designers at the policy level, policies will be created that do not help us. They will be created by very high level thinkers, but it cannot translate down. So that's who we are as DKS. We are the mothership of design in Kenya. We are linked into the Pan-African Design Institute. We are linked in with the World Design Organization. We are linked across Africa, across the globe, but we are the voice of African design in Kenya. I hope you've enjoyed yourself today. Thank you for coming. Please engage with us. Any questions you have, look for us online. We're live streaming this meeting, so if you need to watch anything again, you can go to our Facebook page, both Design Kenya Society and NIDEC, Nairobi International Design Conference, as well as we shall be sending you an email just with a few recap notes and a link to the video once we post it on YouTube. So asante sana. Thank you for allowing us to overshoot by 9 minutes. We do not take it for granted. And as you go back into your days, remember you have an assignment from Wamboi. Figure out that one thing you want to do that will be a shift from here. Our hope is that every time you sit in a meetup like this, something radically changes in your lives. So asante sana, have a good evening, and we shall see you here again in 3 weeks.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, feel free to exit. Yeah.
Or say hello to one another. You can turn on your mics and talk to one another.
For sure.